I fucking hate this game. Yes, I'm finally turned into this cheese-it, penny-pinching power run game. And I know what I said. Anyway, if you're watching this, you're probably aware of my previous AR Warfare video, which sucks, by the way. Don't watch it. No, I will not make a new Roblox TF2 video after this one. Please stop asking me. However, I've been noticing more and more comments calling this game dead, and of course, the typical color Stu Glazers. Please shut up. So in this video, instead of writing a multiple page essay and editing a 20-minute long video for no reason other than being bored, I will simply just play the game and write my thoughts about it without going too into depth. But first, I must introduce this game in a proper fashion, unlike my other video. AR Warfare is a Roblox TF2 inspired game made by Boring Game Studios, a small developer studio of 6 developers, 5 lead developers, and 1 AR Warfare developer. I'm not kidding, this is real. Boring Games has 3 games, including AR Warfare, which is pretty impressive as 2 of these have a cult following with an active player base. They're also working on a new game, I guess, called Chrono Warfare. Chrono, I don't know. They're seemingly shifting their focus onto different games, which I understand, because AR Warfare's reputation is going down the drain and is actively getting less player base in seemingly just 1 year. Anyway, on to the actual game. This game certainly has been polished since I played it. Half-Life maps look better than modern Roblox game design, as it will look like the developers have searched up some mountain texture and Google images and put it as the texture. The maps are pretty ugly in most situations. The lighting looks better and the animations feel more smoother. Definitely an improvement that I can't overlook. For a relatively small team, one guy, this is extremely impressive and noticeable. However, besides the makeup, there are seemingly little changes in content, which is disappointing. But that line will definitely age like milk, since their AR Warfare YouTube channel released a teaser for the next update, which was posted a month ago. But I feel like this doesn't excuse that obvious lack of updates for the game, as it is hard to ignore as a player that hasn't played in like 2 years, which is so noticeable. And all the other game modes are just dead with no activity in them besides the main mode of casual. But then again, the game has a small group working on it and developers have changed interest and moved on. Just like Valve! However, just like TF2, the community is still around, which is pretty heartwarming seeing that people still visit their dementia-ridden grandfather in the nursing home. Alright, why is that in the script? Why did I write that? Oh, that's nice. I have a Discord server. AR Warfare and Boring Game Studios have a problem within the community and the people around them. This even branches out into, ironically, the typical Colors 2 fandom. I just seem to have beef between them, which is funny to me because, like, of course they do. It also seems like X-Mods from AR Warfare comment on typical Colors 2 Reddit posts saying stuff about the Discord server being toxic and a scrapped man versus machine mode, which makes me sad because that seemed like a lot of fun. As I was scrolling through comments through some random posts, I found a screenshot of an ex-moderator just being toxic, or someone just showing off their creation to the community, which is just sad. And I just like searched it up on the Discord and it is real. I don't know why he like started off like this, like half the mods are like, this is kind of weird. Anyway, this section stems from a random comment that I saw under my video, which ever since I've been investigating this rabbit hole has made me even regret even making the script, as I now feel the need to report this as no one else has. This comment explained how a small YouTuber named Blocks made a video about AR Warfare's developers and moderators not being good people. The video in question is called Banned from AR Warfare, a short 5-minute rant video with commentary from Blocks throwing allegations towards not only a Boring Game Studios, but also the AR Warfare Discord server, calling them hypocrites, racists, groups, and overall degenerates.
So you guys read the title. Apparently I'm banned from AR Warfare for quote-unquote leaking 3.0. I just save instance AR Warfare then kept a separate copy of 3.0 for me. In my opinion, that's not even leaking, bro. Knowing the AR Warfare devs, they didn't ban me for leaking, they banned me for some bias BS.
Blocks isn't wrong about the community being degenerates, as I soon sent him a friend request on Discord. He and I had a lovely chat about what has been going on behind the scenes. As within this video, one of the developers for Big Games said the N-word uncensored on a random clip.
Like, can you say the N-word?
In the hard R.
If you have been in the AR Warfare community, Egglane basically said the N-word, and they tried dismissing them being a racist, dude. You don't gotta hide it. It's obvious. If you can say the word, f*** a lot, then it's bound for you to say the N-word.
However, on the server, I found that he repeatedly stated that he was 14 when he said it, and he said it's for mere shock value. But during me and Blox' chat, he has said that his age is not even known, and the video was recorded in 2023. I've looked through this guy's like socials. There's like no record of this guy's age at all. He's like a blank slate, other than this random clip. Blox also sent me screenshots of one of the developers drawing suggestive art of an underage character, and allegedly told me that they were posting suggestive art into the server, which obviously has minors, and is confirmed if the previous developer wasn't lying about being underage. I then joined the server to see what was really happening, and literally the first thing I saw was a role just named Arsler. Now, you might have a stance on the usage of this word, but it gets to a point where everyone in the server has said it on multiple occasions where no one even bats an eye to it, which is just weird.
And the funny part is that a few people has been outed as a, ERP or, you guessed it, fucking. But guess what? They aren't banned. Let's ban the black guy, but let's not ban them. One of the modelers straight up streaming fat fetish. I mean, they were on their Twitter, and their Twitter recommended was just, you guessed it, fat fetish for you. Was I traumatized? Of course I was. But nothing's gonna happen.
The part that really saddens me is the community is actually aware of this degeneracy. They even made memes about it, and how some of the developers are groupers. Through these posts, I also found out that some developers even quit on their own terms because how bad and toxic the community was getting. But no one has reported or even exposed any of this until Blox' video, even though it was basically out of spite. The group basically relies on these controversial figures just so they can release content. Not to mention that Blox even blocked me after this interaction, basically leaving me on a cliffhanger of information. Now, I'm not saying to harass or witch hunt boring games, as it seems like they're full of young developers who can't moderate their own community, but this is a clear criticism of how they're handling it, as these people shouldn't be representing their games. As I love Era Warfare for what it is, but after finding this out, it felt unpleasant to even look at the game in my continue bar on Roblox. And I know this has happened to the dev team before, as I'm like uncovering multiple instances of other developers being just genuinely weird, which led me into an even bigger rabbit hole, which isn't that relevant, but shows how overlooked some people are within the team.
Which, yeah, originally this video was actually going to be some type of exposed video, actually like showing off the bad things the devs did, but at this point, it doesn't matter. This is a community filled with degenerates and allowing groups to work for them, and then when those groomers get caught, they throw them out, which is actually a repeating cycle, and at this point, I shouldn't even care if someone gets groomed. It's not my fault to warn anybody about. It's all the developers' responsibility to keep the community safe, but it seems like they keep failing at that. What I'm gonna ask you guys is, please, don't play Air Warfare, don't support them.
Now, it's clear that not all of the team are full of monsters and degeneracy, as some of the people I've talked about were fired and banned from the general community. And I could give some credit for that. And Blox mentioned some developer that's trying to clean up the server. I don't know if they're still doing that, but just keep that in mind. But not all of them are punished. They're clearly self-aware about who they're working with and who they worked with in the past. And just like what Blox said, they haven't really learned. In my point of view, it seems like they're biased with their own employees and only target them when they've done considerable damage to their reputation or are publicly outed outside the community. For example, the N-word video can just be seen as a wannabe edgy teen making an unfunny joke, and if you think that, that's fine. However, that doesn't make it right. To me, it just seems like, okay, this person used a slur for shock value, and didn't even get a slap on the wrist. However, compared to someone like Blox, who got banned for leaking a build of the game, makes it seem like they're clearly biased towards people in their work and their community, at least in my opinion. They knew that this video existed, and it's floating around, but Blox' incident was private and secluded within their own community, with him being open to talk to developers, saying that an incident outside the control and community is less harmful than a potential game leak that can generally ruin the game's update is not a valid excuse. One incident takes place almost 2 years ago, probably when the game wasn't even created, that uses a slur that other people would have been banned for, even if it's outside the community, or for pure shock value. And the other involves a game leak that was only acquired through poor security issues within the actual game. You tell me which one is worse. Also, it doesn't even help knowing that Blocks himself, the guy who reported all of this to me, joined the server again. This is just blatant hypocrisy, and he soon took down his videos and posts related to era warfare, clearly hiding the claims of these people who should be outed for said reasons. Also, did you know in late 2023, there was rumored to be a collab between Typical Colors 2 and Era Warfare for cosmetics and reskins of weapons into consideration for the collab? Crazy, right? So, where the hell is this collaboration? Because I didn't see it, and neither did anyone else. And it's because it was cancelled for seemingly no reason. However, according to the Typical Colors 2 fandom wiki, and I quote, "The collaboration was cancelled on August 1st, 2024, after Dorcas Digital no longer wanted to work with Boring Game Studio due to questionable public statements from certain Boring Game Studio developers." I still don't know what questionable statements these were, and I've looked through the internet to find out, but nothing came up. Not even all developers know what these questionable statements were. These might have been deleted, or I might have not been looking hard enough, so take these mysterious questionable statements with a pinch of salt. But if it is true, whatever it was bad enough for an entire studio to depart and abandon a collaboration between these two games that basically take place within the same community. Take that statement of what you will. Okay, now for this next segment, it will be a little more serious and less about Era Warfare, but rather another game, Dopey Fighters 3. This game might have rung some bells in your head if you're in the underrated Roblox game space, which is, yes, real somehow. This game's infamous for being just generally bad and earned the status of a gooner game because of some suggestive thumbnails the creator used in the past, which to their credit doesn't use anymore. Now, you might be asking, why are you talking about this game? This isn't my Team Fortress 2 slop. Now, the reality is that this game has a pathetic one-sided beef with Era Warfare. It's hilarious because when you first join the game, this giant banner just says, and I quote, "As I'm updating the game, decided to add a new code system. We're making a protest, comma, to join, comma, redeem, hashtag boycott Era Warfare," in a personalization section. End quote. Yes, this is real. I even joined the game for confirmation, and I asked players on why this game is against Era Warfare, and their response, this game is bad. They're talking about Dopey Fighters, by the way. Either I get this response, or I just get no responses at all. All the active players on this game just join it to talk trash about it and leave, which is kind of funny to me, I guess. And yes, I've played this game, and it is bad, but it just needs some work. It's like Arsenal, kinda. Not even their own fanbase knows why on God's green earth they're supporting this boycott. Now, the reason for this boycott? Dopey Fighters creator got exposed by the Era Warfare team for being an alleged groomer. And ever since then, they have this revenge vendetta against Era Warfare for about 2 years now. And this whole drama also branched out into the Typical Colors 2 fandom as well, just for note. Now, who is this person? Their name was originally Kash. I don't know how to pronounce. I'm just gonna say Kash. I don't care. It was originally Kash, but had multiple name changes due to the drama. They're now either known as Shrunk Slain, Zowie, I don't know, or Myra. And on screen, I'll put some screenshot proof that all these names are connected to Kash in some way or another. They're also best known for the game TDS RPG, which was taken down. The evidence against Kash are one Google document that is now archived, multiple documents that were made but are now deleted, multiple screenshots, a testimony, and even Krash's own response videos towards the allegations. And all these have the consistent allegation of Kash just being a degenerate. On September 8, 2028, Kash would be accused of sexual assault during 2021, when he was presumably 12, turning 13, and the victim was 10. Now, some people might not see this age gap as an issue, as both parties were minors. However, Kash knew what he was doing, and was allegedly begging for sexually explicit conversations, despite the victim saying that they didn't want to. This could be viewed as grooming, as the definition of grooming doesn't need an age requirement. According to Wikipedia, sexual grooming means the action or behavior used to establish an emotional connection with a vulnerable person, to lower their inhibitions with the objective of sexual abuse. But can this be viewed as sexual assault? To me, yes. After this was exposed, Kash went into full damage control and essentially kicked off the team. And guess what the team did 10 days later? They rehired Kash and even lied about not rehiring them. Guilty or not, this is disgusting. There's even video evidence of a developer being in a VC with Crush and playing a game with them. Despite the victim's wishes to show that Crush is a bad person, the team turned a blind eye. Okay, well, Toxic Crisis, Crush was a minor when this happened, and it only happened once. As I was dwelling in the Era Warfare Discord server, on the day of December 16, 2024, I found a screenshot of a familiar name admitting to being controlling over another person. And guess how old the victim was? Under 13. Crush in the screenshot says they were 16. There is no clear evidence of the exact age of the victim, but from the grapevine, the victim was under 13. And if the victim was 12, there would have been a 4-year age gap. This shows that Crush did not learn from their actions and is a groomer with a clear power dynamic between Crush and the victim. Also, notice how he says again in the confession? Crush released a YouTube video titled How Era Warfare Has Unfairly Defaced Me. This 11-minute video was a total response to the archived document exposing them for their degeneracy. And it would be less than 8 minutes long if Crush removed the optional hearing of Crush's friends defending them. I'm sorry, but to me this is a clear manipulation tactic towards the viewer, as it persuades the viewer into thinking that Crush is actually liked by many people, and she'll like Crush too.
Like, he's a better person than he has been, and from my experience with him, he really isn't an asshole anymore.
Like, that's really all I have to say. Yeah.
Like, all I really do with him is, like, play test his games with him and, like, just help him out sometimes. We goof around a lot, too. We just sit in a VC and just do stupid shit, laughing at dumb things.
Crush has already debunked all of the accusations in a group chat. Yes, in a group chat. I personally cannot remember any of it, but he's told me to come here and basically prove his innocence. He wouldn't really do those things, that's what I'm trying to say.
The only reason why there are members who got banned from his server was just because they're being idiots. They've been sending a lot of nude photos of other people and artwork that's NSFW. If Zings had groomed any of us, even me, we would have said that sooner.
I can confirm he's been a really good friend, to be honest. He's not that much of an asshole, he's funny. Didn't do any of that shit like fucking grooming. Like I heard him responded that shit very well. And yeah, I can confirm he's not like guilty of that shit.
I listened to the optional hearing, and it's mostly just people saying that Crush is just an idiot. That's from what I gathered. Anyway, the rest of the video is basically just Crush saying that there's little to no proof, that the document is a lie, and that they did get rehired, but expresses regret for putting up with the offer.
I cannot fully overall explain because one of the evidence shown is fake, and I don't think I can fully prove how it's fake. He would later snitch the idea that I would manage to make it back to the development team. Credits to HC for that back then. And HC would realize prior that the evidence isn't true at all and would help me to get everyone back and notified that I am in fact innocent. The secret rehire was done with the help with HC when, as I said prior, he was getting everyone back with me. We were all trying to keep quiet that I was rehired, but I decided it was not right and immoral, so I decided to tell Fireflanks to Phantom Requires about this, which is honestly one of the dumbest things I've ever done. Like, I should have understood it was a brick wall about his stubbornness, but I'll continue.
Now yes, the document isn't perfect, like at all. I'll put it in the description for you to look at. It seemed rushed and had little evidence of the claims besides like 10 screenshots. That's very little for a serious allegation. However, this document does get its point across while still being sloppy. It still exposes Crush for being what they are and shows the faults of the Era Warfare team. But my question for Crush is, why not talk about this earlier when the document was actually relevant instead of 2 years later? It just seems suspicious to me that coincidentally all the evidence towards your account and the victim's account was wiped because you both deleted your accounts, and that's when you finally talked about the allegations. It just seems suspicious to me.
There is no way that we could show if we even did in the first place because both of our accounts are deleted.
And after this video, on July 13th, 2024, Crush released another YouTube video titled How Era Warfare Doxed Me, and it's a 7-minute video explaining how the Era Warfare team essentially doxed Crush. This is a clear criticism of how the team handled the situation and resorted to harassment of Crush rather than just ignoring them. However, Crush still failed to, explain the allegations of the one for 2023. I don't even think the recent one is an allegation. That was just Kash admitting to it. And rather than talking about them, Kash resorted to just changing their online presence and hiding. However, Kash didn't hide for too long. Under the current creator of Dopey Fighters 3, they have made a fictional character based on the perspective of the Era Warfare developer team. Yes, this is real. Now, if I was Kash and I was being faced with serious allegations, I feel like the last thing I would do is make a fictional 13-page lyrical story. They even made another document before this one, and it is basically the same thing, but has multiple sections of pages relating to the allegations, and an entire section defacing the entire Era Warfare team for degeneracy and sometimes just plain making fun of them. Most of the documents are irrelevant towards the allegations, and it's mostly just Kash denying the claims and defending themselves for being a creep. Now, even if Kash is innocent and is telling the truth, this is the worst thing you could do to defend yourself. You're making yourself look immature and uncaring towards the very real and very serious allegations. And it doesn't make it better that both the Era Warfare community and Typical Colors 2 community just doesn't take this seriously at all. Because it's a 13-page lyrical story that is fictional. However, the most recent controversy about Kash I can find is them allegedly making threats about using an Era Warfare developer. You know, I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. Kash made rape threats towards an Era Warfare developer and allegedly made a song about doing just that. This is absolutely disgusting if true, and this makes him a legitimate threat towards people around him. Considering that Kash is in a community of mostly children, this is a very real problem. And so, that's all I could find about Kash. A story about degeneracy, denial, and deplorable actions. So, with this video not coming to a close, what else is there to say? The Era Warfare team are not good people, and so is Kash. You shouldn't seek out these people to specifically harass them, as I do not condone those kinds of actions. If I missed some points or got some information wrong, please leave them in the comments, and I will compile all of them into the comments or in the description, or maybe both. Thank you for watching this video, and have a good day.